Joining me today. So we have a number of announcements to make in terms of ways that we feel strongly that Vermonters can make a difference and the legislature can work together with this administration to make a difference for our veterans. The first is, as you know, for many years, as a result of the good work of the Advisory Council and the folks in this building, we've had a voluntary checkoff on our tax forms to donate $1 to the Vermont Veterans Fund. This fund was established in 2010 and has raised nearly $159,000 in 3 years to help our veterans. I am urging Vermonters to join me in checking off the Veterans Fund this year when they prepare their taxes to give $1 to this important fund. What's it do? What it does is to provide services to veterans that otherwise wouldn't happen. We make sure that it helps to support homeless veterans as they're making a transition to permanent housing. It provides peer counseling. It provides emergency assistance with rent, utilities, if they're in a tough spot and can't make ends meet. It has helped with funeral honors for those who have passed on after they served their state and their country. So I'm here to implore Vermonters to join us in the voluntary checkoff on your tax form to support the Veterans Fund. Second, Secretary Kondos is going to be talking about an effort that was really spearheaded by First Lady Michelle Obama and by Jill Biden. And they urged we 50 governors on many occasions to make sure that our state regulations made it possible for our veterans and their families, when they're often placed in a new location, to have their spouse's professional credentials be able to go through an expedited process. So that, as an example, if you have a service person who's serving in California and has moved to Vermont, if the spouse were a nurse, they could automatically use that credential to serve Vermonters as a nurse. We know that our veterans have to make huge sacrifices, their families, for the service to our country. And this really is an opportunity to say, hey, we appreciate your work. We know your spouses are good at the jobs they do, and we want to make that transition as you move to a new state easier by ensuring that you're credentialed for your professional services and you can get a job in your new location where you're following your spouse. Third, the Fish and Wildlife Department is asking lawmakers to lower the disability threshold for veterans to obtain a free hunting or fishing license. Currently, veterans must be certified to be 100% disabled in order to be eligible. We're asking for a 60% threshold so that we can show our appreciation to our veterans by getting more access to fish and wildlife licenses through the disability threshold. We think that's a small thing that Vermont can do to appreciate our veterans. Let's remember that our neighboring states are already doing this in many cases, and it's time that Vermont joined up. And finally, Commissioner Noonan and others have been working together with the Department of Labor to increase apprenticeship programs for veterans, offering free courses at Community College of Vermont, expanding workforce opportunity tax credits, and many other opportunities for veterans. One of our challenges is that when our veterans return from service overseas, or anywhere else, there is often difficulty finding a good job. We've done everything that we can in Vermont to say to Vermont employers, hire a vet. We believe that some of these other programs will help make sure that they are best trained for those jobs. So those are a few of the things that we have in mind. I'm proud to have with us a number of folks to speak to some of these initiatives, and I'm going to start with the chair of my Advisory Council on Veterans Affairs, Gary DeGasta. Gary, thank you for your great work.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Take it away.
Good day, everyone. I'm Gary DeGasta, the chair of the council, and I certainly want to express our appreciation to the governor, to the Commissioner, Department of Labor, and the others who've done things to help us move activities and support of veterans forward. The issue we're talking about this morning has to do with the Vermont Veterans Fund, and we certainly appreciate the efforts made by Vermonters to support veterans throughout the state. This initiative brings monies to a group called the Vermont Veterans Fund Committee, which consists of a number of individuals who then try to use the dollars made available and disseminate those to individuals throughout the state who have needs. They include individuals as well as corporations, and I think, as the governor has mentioned, a number of those funds have been used very effectively over the years. So we appreciate the opportunity to have this meeting to bring to everyone in the community our concerns and needs for veterans. So we thank you very much, and the governor, again, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate your good work. Secretary of State Jim Thomas.
Thank you. I want to thank the governor for inviting me here today, and especially for his important initiatives that he's dealing with and undertaken when it comes to veterans and military affairs. My office, through the Office of Professional Regulation, has been working with the legislature, in fact with some of the representatives here, to find better ways to support our veterans and those who are currently serving our country and their families. Often a military spouse has no say when the family is moved. If they are a licensed professional coming to Vermont, my office has always strived to make it easier for them to transition into a position here. This legislation creates actually a formal process for us for expediting the military spouse licenses. It also grants authority to our veterans for the credit that they rightfully deserve for military training instead of requiring further civilian training. This isn't special treatment. This is giving credit where credit is due. For the past several years, I've also been working as a result of Jill Biden and Vice President Joe Biden's wife, Jill Biden, and the President's spouse, Michelle Obama, on a committee on the Uniform Law Commission to actually look at ways that we can improve. Vermont's considered a friendly state already because we have a good operational system, a good IT system, and it works well. But because of that, we know we can still improve. This bill, H-275, which Representative Grad will be speaking about, is just one of the many ways that we can support our veterans and others who have served our country. Again, I want to thank the men and women and the families of our military for their service to our country. Thanks.
Thanks for your good work. Appreciate it. Pat Derry, Commissioner.
Thank you. According to the Veterans Administration, there are about 50,000 Vermonters that are veterans, and in a state that has a population just north of 600,000, that shows a tremendous commitment of our state to protect and serve our country. And we think by lowering the threshold for a disabled veteran to receive a license is a commitment that we can do. It's the least that we can do for them. And we know that in many circumstances, when these veterans come back from overseas or for serving their country, it's a difficult transition. And oftentimes, if they return to the things that they love best, and if you're a Vermonter, many of them enjoy hunting and fishing, it really eases that transition back into life, and it means a lot to them. So we're very proud to push this initiative with support from the governor and support from the committees of jurisdiction so that we can do this very small thing, in our opinion, to show how much we appreciate their service to our country.
Thanks, Commissioner.
Thank you. Good work.
We have two veterans here who I'm incredibly proud of, Ben Sullivan and Chad Brown. And I want to take a second to talk about Chad because about Ben and Chad, but Ben and Chad are the reason why we do this work. Ben has been on 2 tours of duty in Iraq. He's a Marine, United States Marine. He had a tragic accident while manning a gun turret of an armed vehicle. During this incident, he broke 2 vertebrae in his jaw, permanently damaged his arm, and had many other challenges. He spent 3 days in the desert, buried in a hole, till he was rescued by an Army male helicopter. And he was paralyzed from the waist down. He has miraculously and gradually recovered from his paralysis, but he lives in constant pain. He's considered currently 80% disabled. So when listening to Commissioner Berry today, he would not qualify for a license for free hunting or for fishing. So Ben Sullivan and Chad Brown from Milton, who Chad was injured in Ramadi, are examples of why we think this initiative is so important. They fought for their country, they're brave, they've sacrificed their lives for us, and we're incredibly proud to have both of them with us today. So Ben, if you don't mind, we'll start with you, and then we'll try to get Chad to say a word. We'll come on up, or you can come up together if you feel better about it, whatever you want to do.
I just wanted to thank the Commissioner of Fish and Wildlife and Governor Shumlin for pretty much, saying thank you to all the veterans of Vermont. This is a big deal for all of us. It's nice to see that they're taking time on their schedule to recognize veterans in the state. And again, I just wanted to thank them very much.
Thank you, Chad. Appreciate it. Chad, thanks for your service. If you're willing to come up, I was hoping that you'd stand next to Ben because I didn't want to look short in camera. Take it away.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out. Like Ben said, this is a big deal to us Vermonters. Hunting and fishing is our life here, and I'm at 60% disability right now, and I wouldn't qualify for a license. And I think it would mean a lot to the veterans to lower the standards so we could get free hunting and fishing.
Thanks for your service. I appreciate it. I'm also proud of my Commissioner of Labor, who's been working hard on a number of initiatives to help out vets looking for jobs. Commissioner Noonan.
Thank you. Happy to be here today. With the support of the Governor's Advisory Council, the Department of Labor is working on a number of initiatives, and I think the thing that we're most excited about is that about a month ago, we brought about 50 advocates together, and they're all folks that are working for and supporting the issue of veterans employment. And there are many initiatives that we can be coordinating, and that has at that point had not really been coming together. So we're really excited that we've got projects to enhance job fairs and on-the-job training, work opportunity tax credit, apprenticeship, the very important issue of industry-recognized credentialing for veterans. We're also looking at the bill that is talking about unemployment benefits for trailing spouses that Representative Grad and others have put forward, and Representative Canfield is working on lots of initiatives. And so the department is examining those issues. We're very happy that this administration has given us a free rein to really work towards putting more of our efforts as a department into the veterans' employment. And so I would say basically for all of the veterans, the businesses in Vermont that are owned by veterans, and for all Vermont employers, that it's really important to consider the fact that we have a wonderful ready workforce in the Vermont veteran population, and we urge you to hire a veteran. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. So there were a couple envelopes around here a second ago. Who stole them from? Come on, bring them over, Chief. We're going to wrap this up just by sending Ben home with we're going to save a stamp. You know I'm a cheap governor, but Fish and Wildlife Board does extraordinary work for Vermont, and as a hunter, I can tell you that there's a bit of a gender gap in our sportsmen and women community. So we've been trying to not only put qualified people on the board, but appoint more women. And I'm really honored to be able to give Ben the signed copy of the directive appointing his wife Cheryl to the Fish and Wildlife Board. You'll take this back to Cheryl?
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And the second woman is Joanna Lagus. I know I've seen some of you in the press here at their annual corn roast up there at the Lagus Farm, and she's going to be the other member of the board. But she's not here.
We should do the bill as well.
Oh, we got to sign the bill.
No, that's
Oh, you're right. Come on. Representative Maxine Grad. We didn't put you on a board, but. Thanks.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you, Governor Shumlin, Secretary Condos, Commissioner Berry, Commissioner Noonan, committee chairs, GVAC members, and others who are here to express their support for improving the lives of our servicemen and women. H275, which you heard referenced today, recognizes that our servicemen and women who, while separating from the military, are still active participants in our workforce and are vital for building our economy and our workforce. It is the right thing to do for our men and women who, while separating for the It is the right thing to do for our men and women who have served our country and now wish to serve our state with their valuable training and education. These men and women come with valuable things that our state is looking for: young, viable families to enroll in our schools, education and skills to enhance our workforce, and strong commitment to service and community that we know is the Vermont way. While separating service members enter the civilian community with valuable training and skills, they are frequently delayed getting post-service employment, even though they have applicable military education, training, and experience, which can qualify them for licenses or provide academic credit toward degree requirements. H275 is about professional recognition, respect, and gratitude for those who've put their lives on the line for us. In the past 2 years, 41 states have enacted new laws to help grant our veterans credit towards licensing or academic credit. We don't want Vermont to be the last to do so. We should facilitate getting our servicemen and women employed as quickly as possible. The second part of H275 addresses unemployment compensation for military spouses. Such compensation is important to military families who cannot afford to lose income during a military move. Providing unemployment compensation is both pragmatic and a matter of principle. A military family moves to fulfill military requirements, and spouses should not be penalized by states for, quote-unquote, voluntarily leaving employment. Currently, 44 out of 50 states grant unemployment compensation to military spouses. Again, Vermont shouldn't be the last. So I look forward to working all of you on these efforts, and thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary Graham. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
We'd be happy to answer questions if you all have them.
Does the certification licensure apply to professions like lawyers? I imagine the bar could be a tricky issue, but are there any exceptions to the rule?
Let me ask the Secretary of State to answer that. My own view is that lawyers should never be licensed. He's checking.
What we're gonna do is, we're gonna work towards creating the process that's necessary. Obviously, the Vermont Bar Association and the lawyers are not under the auspices of the Office of Professional Regulation, as neither are the docs, so, but we're gonna work on a process that all can use.
And how long does it usually take to go through this process?
Sometimes it could take as little as a day to get their credentials approved. We have a very nimble, very agile system, and we have reciprocal agreements with other states, so we're able to move quickly.
So, but how, if I'm not a member of the military, or how long would it take me to go through this process?
It could take a day, as little as a day, depending on your qualifications.
So is there a problem that needs solving right now?
What we're doing is technically we don't have the authority to do this. This lays out a process for us that we can do it, but we are already moving in that direction. We are already doing what we can to expedite these requests. We don't get a lot of them, but when we do, we try to expedite them as quickly as we can.
And do you have a ballpark sense of how many you get over the course of the
I
year?
don't.
But if I'm not, so whether I'm a member of the military or not, right now, this process that you're talking about expediting takes about a day?
It could take as little as a day, or it could take longer than that. Depends on the qualifications and how we view things. What this bill does is it provides us the process to actually move faster with the military side, because it's not always just a day. That's the fastest. You said what is the
Right.
fastest?
What's the longest it could take?
It could take, depending on qualifications needed for a specific profession, it could take weeks or months. It depends. But we're expediting it as quickly as we can.
Other questions, thoughts?
Many of those seeking to replace Senator Sally Fox are withdrawing their names after her husband